This is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
It starts with an email. Not a long one. Not filled with caveats or hedged language. Just a sharp, direct shot across the bow. It came months before 4 University of Idaho students were murdered. The sender was a criminology professor at Washington State University. The recipient, a small circle of colleagues. The subject, one of their PhD students, Bryan Kohberger. And these are the words of the email.
Really, lean in to hear this, because these words to me are stunning.
I feel like if I had met this guy, I would have sent this email because
I know you would have, because you and I have worked with some people very similar to this.
This is the excerpt of the email. I don't have the whole email. I've been searching through the archive. I've downloaded everything. I don't know that the whole email is available. I think it's just the excerpt that's available through the new document drop from Pullman. Here it is. Quote, "Mark my word. If we give him a PhD, that's the guy we will hear is harassing, stalking, and sexually assaulting." This, months before any of this took place. There was an early warning sign. This is someone who saw Kohberger for Kohberger. I think a lot of people saw Kohberger for Kohberger. We just don't have a decent enough system in place to deal with it when we find these sort of people in our society. How's that for academics? Yeah, that's how academics.
What do you do?
You know, I don't know what you do. That's how academics usually talk about their students, not in email, not on the record, not even without cause. The language wasn't about poor grades or missed deadlines. It wasn't about academic performance at all. It was about him, who he was, what he projected, what he made people feel. I mean, putting that email out before anyone has done anything. Kind of a ballsy move. I mean, it could be looked at as libel. It could be looked at as slanderous. It could be looked at as a lot of things if you're going to make those sort of statements about someone who has no criminal record.
Right. And Tony, you and I said this a few minutes ago, we've worked with somebody like this. However, you were instrumental in getting rid of that person who was a program director who was exhibiting hostility toward women and inappropriate sexual touch.
Yeah.
To me, you stepped in and got him the fuck out of there. Don't you think that's something they should have done?
Yeah. But I think a lot of times hands are tied. In the case we had, I got to you guys early on and said, start documenting everything.
And we did.
And I said, I don't know how we're going to use this, when we're going to, but just start documenting everything that's going on. And I will take it from here on the inside as best as I can. And then moment came and we got rid of him. And I said, bring it all. And then we brought it all and we got rid of him. We had to force them, though, to get rid of him, which took that. This, Kohberger didn't have a lot of receipts with him. I mean, there were some complaints here and there, but he hadn't been charged with anything. He was creepy and weird. And this person made a very strong assumption, insanely accurate, because sometimes you can just call these people out. But again, that's the conundrum of the world. And I don't want to live in a world where we just arrest people for being different or because it's all in the eye of the beholder. Someone could think I'm crazy. Someone could think you're crazy. Someone could think this or that you're really off according to their standards. There's not a universal standard for weird.
But he had some really inappropriate interactions with women.
But it was nothing more than you can get fired for it. He wasn't essaying anybody.
Yeah.
And things, I mean, other than you're going to lose your job, there was nothing prosecutable about anything he did. Nothing. And you can't go on a spree of throwing what he threw out in that email privately to very few people out there in the ether. You can't, of somebody who's not, you're going to get sued. You can't.
But they had to alert one another that we've got a problem on our hands.
And they knew.
Red flags are everywhere.
And they knew, and that's why they fired him. So it wasn't. I don't have any issue here with the schools or how they dealt with Kohberger. They got rid of him. They realized he was creepy and weird, and there was something wrong with him, and he was a possible danger to people and a huge liability for the school as well. So they did what they did. They got rid of him before they knew he did this.
Yeah.
Did that spark what he did? I think is one of the bigger questions.
Oof.
So they saw something here enough to feel certain, not suspicious, certain, or this one writer did, this one professor did. Whether it was his treatment of women in the program or the way he occupied space in the room or comments that triggered gut-level alarms. Something in Kohberger's behavior prompted a college to draw a direct line from doctoral candidate to future headline. I'd love to talk to the person who wrote that. I'd love to hear what those interactions were that made that person feel that way.
Yeah.
Because there's some untold stories right there. And now with hindsight, that warning reads like a prophecy. When investigators finally opened his digital life after his arrest, they found a pattern that didn't just rhyme with the professor's concerns. It practically illustrated them. Let's start with his phone. Oh, there's a lot. And I know we're talking about Kohberger like every day. I get it. But there's new things that are dropping every single day that are putting this case into perspective and showing just the monster that this man is and the lack of, I don't want to say humanity, lack of being human.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a brain that pretty much, it ran, but it didn't seem to run on the same fuel that everybody else's does. In an era where most people have hundreds of contacts in their phone, old classmates, coworkers, family, friends. The worst thing I ever did was merge it with LinkedIn, because now I have thousands of people in my phone who I have no clue who the hell they are. I wish I had a small contact list, but it's not. Kohberger's contact list was a barren landscape. 18 entries. That's it. And many of them weren't even named.
This is where I'm like, what is going on here, dude?
So they were placeholders. Now, remember, you've probably already heard through some of the reporting that he labeled his parents mother and father and sister as well.
Tony, they have names.
I know, but that's not how he does it.
These are human beings. These are people with identities.
Well,
they're not just...
In his phone, girl I ran with. And then in case you get mixed up, second girl I ran with. Hair. There's something kind of chilling about all of it. He doesn't put humanity onto people.
Right. That they are just entities and they don't have, they're not beings. They're products or services or
they're reference
experiences.
Points. They're reference points for him to remember what interaction he may have had with them and how that then computes to whatever he's doing at that moment in time.
It's a glimpse into how his mind works, that he's not seeing these people as beings.
No.
Objects.
Well, in his own words, should not come as a shock to anyone. He was a teenager calling people meat suits and recognizing that he didn't have emotions towards human beings.
Yeah.
His own words.
He identified it in himself well before anybody else did.
And he realized it was missing. It's like he realized at a younger age he had it and it went away. And that's interesting. That to me is interesting because it shows, because people go, well, he was born this way. Yeah, I believe to a certain extent. I don't think there was an extenuating trauma in his life necessarily that made him change. Not that at least we're aware of, or it's anything's ever even been hinted at. But something changed. And it doesn't always take a trauma necessarily. The wiring, just as he matured, didn't mature. It just didn't wire. It just didn't connect. There's something chilling about the names in all of this. It's not that a short contact list makes someone dangerous, but it does say something about isolation, about the narrow lanes in which he allowed relationships to exist. Investigators noted how rarely he communicated with anyone outside of his immediate family. It wasn't just sparse, it was deliberate. But the emptiness wasn't just the whole story. Inside that same phone were digital affects that hinted at an entirely different kind of activity, one that no one in his academic circle would have been able to see unless they looked over his shoulder. Forensic analysts found search terms in his autofill history that were so specific they erased any doubt about intent. Phrases pairing non-consensual acts with sleeping, forced, and other language we don't need to repeat here in full to understand the nature of the search. This wasn't curiosity. This was targeted, deliberate, and repeated, desired, if you will, in the mind of Bryan Kohberger. He tried to delete his history, but autofill betrayed him. And then came Christmas downloads.
Christmas, because, what are you going to do on Christmas?
December 25th, 2022, just 6 weeks after the murders. While families across the country were opening gifts or carving ham, Kohberger was downloading files on more than 20 notorious serial killers. Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and most telling, Danny Rawling, the Gainesville Ripper. A man who crept into the homes of college students, attacked them with a large knife, and left entire communities shaken. The parallels of Moscow, Idaho are hard to ignore. The age of the victims, a university setting, the weapon, the nighttime home invasion. Kohberger didn't just read about Rawling once. He revisited the files in the days that followed. Rawling's crimes were, in essence, a case study of the very crime Kohberger was accused of committing. And then there was the camera roll. No trophies came from the crime scene. No snapshots of victims. What he kept were images of himself. And this is what's interesting. And I texted Robin earlier because I saw a headline in People magazine today. And it's something I called out half a year, whenever the thumbs up picture came out.
Yeah.
I said, American Psycho. He's trying to be American Psycho. And he's also trying to be Psycho. And the headline in People was, images, I don't know the exact, but it was something about, let me read it to you. I don't want to screw it up. Because it's like, shit, I called that.
You've been spot on about this guy for a long time.
Bryan Kohberger's shirtless selfies and naked women were discoveries on his phone. Very vain, like American Psycho. He was mimicking it. He was fucking mimicking it. I was right. He was doing that.
It's becoming more and more disturbing the more we dive into this. Had he not been caught, who knows what he would have been capable of?
Yeah.
This could have been a man on a rampage across the United States.
Yeah. What he kept on his phone were images of himself. So if we were wondering earlier, are there more selfies? Yes, there are. Shirtless mirror selfies, flexing, angling his jaw, testing expressions. Wasn't for social media. None of these images were sent to anyone. They were for him. Alongside them were pictures of scantily clad or nude women, also unsent. Investigators compared the level of self-focus to investigators compared it to American Psycho's Patrick Bateman. A man curating himself for an audience of one. When you set all that against the professor's warning, the through line is impossible to miss. An email wasn't a lucky guess. It came from proximity to behavior that triggered something primal. This man is a danger. The phone confirmed it in triplicate. isolation, predatory fantasy, fascination with killers, and an obsessive self-regard. But the new files show more than just the warning and the private digital life. They show that Kohberger monitored the case against him before he was even on law enforcement's radar. He downloaded the latest 9 police bulletins related to the Idaho murders between late November and late December 22. This wasn't casual news consumption. This was tracking an investigation in near real time, like a burglar checking if anyone had noticed the broken window yet. All of it points to a man who was not just living a double life, quiet, grad student on the surface, dark, very dark currents were beneath, but someone whose surface life may have been deliberately cultivated as cover. In criminology, they talk about over-controlled offenders, people who present as polite, reserved, even shy, but who they are quietly building a parallel world in which their impulses run free. The professor's email reads like the observation of someone who'd begun to see cracks in that facade. There's also the matter of timing, April 2022. He interviews for a position with the Pullman Police Department as a graduate research assistant that would have given him access to policing strategies, data, maybe even investigative patterns. He doesn't get the position. By November, he's accused of committing one of the most notorious crimes in the country. 7 months between almost inside the police department and prime suspect. The new documents don't answer every question. They don't explain motive. They don't tell us what was happening in his head in those final hours before the murders. But they do fill in a portrait. Not of a man who snapped, but of someone who'd been building towards something for a long time. Someone whose professors could see the storm coming. Someone whose phone remembered what he tried to erase. Someone who curated an image of himself as carefully as he studied the crimes of others. And when you look back at that one sentence, mark my words, it stops being a coincidence and starts feeling like a missed intervention. I'm curious, because Catherine has spoken out about it now, Catherine Ramsland, and she said, I didn't see anything. I wonder if more time is added to that. I'm curious how this professor saw something and she didn't.
I have a theory.
But it's interaction because she's female. He acts differently among female. I would think that would make him stand out worse in some ways.
However, haven't we established that he kind of idolized her? That she was a little bit different than anybody else that he dealt with?
So he treated her differently, so it wouldn't
That's
have
how
stood
I'm
out.
feeling that he, and this is just my brainstorm, but he put her on a bit of a pedestal.
Yeah.
And she could have fallen off hard. She could have ended up a victim of him.
Yeah, easily.
Had she done the wrong thing, said the wrong thing, made him feel a certain way. But I think there was a little bit of idolization of her. So she maybe didn't see what others were visualizing on a regular basis because he put on an act for her. He was acting like those, selfies. That's what she saw.
Yeah. He's a copy and paste. And then he runs with whatever script he pasted in the slot where he thinks, okay, let's put this record on and let's do this. And when the record runs out, he's clueless.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs a script. He needs a teleprompter.
I mean, the whole night.
Sorry, that wasn't a jab at you.
No.
Because I know you've got a teleprompter there.
It's right there. I love it. It's wonderful.
Sorry. I didn't mean that.
No, I mean, I riff all the time, but I love it to kind of keep me on track.
Right.
But it's interesting because he knew how to turn it on when he needed to, but he only seemed to do it when it benefited him. So being in that presence of Ramsland and portraying himself that way for that, he saw the benefit there. To others, to his students, to others, it didn't matter. They were meat suits, I guess.
Correct.
The girl he went running with and girl he went running with the second time. Meat suits. Mother, father. He valued them. I think he did, but did he value them or did he value that they were the only people who would put up with him? They were the only people on this planet who would take the time and never walk away after someone got to know Bryan a bit too much and said these too much. They were there. They were stuck with him because he was their son.
He was family. It was an obligation. They had to tend to him.
Yeah. I wonder if they had stopped tending sooner. If at some point they just said, screw it. This guy's he needs help. We've tried everything we can. But the fact that they did still sit there and comfort him and pander to him. And I know, like, that's what parents do. So you're not going to abandon your kid. I get it. But I don't know.
But there are some.
At some point, you got to, like, throw them out to the. If they're not cutting it, you can't keep coddling forever. You got to throw them to the wild at some
Tony,
point.
some people can, and some people do.
Oh, they can and do, but they're not. But they're unhealthy adults. Then these kids turn into monsters because they're unhealthy adults because they've never. I'd rather, that's what growing up is for. That's for, like, slowly releasing that. So as they get older, they start getting exposed to life and the not so niceties of it. So by the time they get to be an adult, they can function and they're not locked in their house like Bryan Kohberger looking up serial killers and weird rapey porn.
Yeah.
What happens when you coddle your kid too much? This. Maybe not to this extent, but a very unhealthy brain.
You've got to allow children to make mistakes and learn from them. If you coddle them to the point where you protect them from everything, when they get out into the real world and experience life as it comes, they have no coping mechanisms whatsoever. None.
I know. Tell me about it. I 1000% agree. I think I was the last generation where we had coping skills because we were thrown to the wolves and it was good luck, come back for dinner. And then after that, it became helicopter land and children first. And I was calling it out in elementary school. I really was. I was saying when the children first initiative came out in the 90s, I could see a dramatic difference between my class and about 2 or 3 grades younger than me. Dramatically different because they were teaching them and handling them in a very different way than they were us. We had grit. They did not. And they never got it.
Yep. My generation, Generation X, we were, the big t-shirt out there is raised on hose water and neglect. Like we drank from the garden hose.
And that's the best damn water there is.
Shit. Yeah. Get home by, when the street lights come on, you need to be home.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't have cell phones.
I went out in the woods on large hills and cliffs and shit and wandered and then would find myself in a cemetery with a proton pack because I was young enough to be playing with a plastic proton pack, Ghostbusters style, pretending I was busting ghosts in the cemetery as people were mourning their dead loved ones. And this was how we did things.
Yes.
It was like, oh, he's not playing. Okay. He's a mile into the woods and he gets into the cemetery from a back hole. And then, oh, okay, we'll come back later. I can't imagine saying that to my daughter. I can't imagine being okay with this idea.
Yeah. The world has changed.
Yeah. But that's the thing. And I'm not saying that was great or wise. I'm not. I'm not saying it was good. But I'm saying we went from figure it all out yourself to I'm going to figure literally everything out for you. Go ahead. Keep playing that video game in my basement till you're 35.
Yeah, I'll handle everything for you. Instead of letting you learn how to handle things for yourself and be an independent adult, you just call me whenever you have a problem. I will handle it.
But here's the thing. And this is every kid is different and dramatically different, no matter if they're raised in the same household. His 2 sisters became successful. His 2 sisters had their life together. And they were raised at the same times, in the same home, by the same parents. So I'm not blaming the parent. And I don't know that the parents were doing this. And I don't know. But the extreme coddling, talking to your son for 3 hours, and he's 28, and he's living his, There's nothing wrong with wanting to talk to your kid. I get it. And I've had long conversations with my parents too. But they're I don't know. I can't blame them. But I think they may be looking back themselves, and they're going to do enough of it their own way of going, yeah, maybe if we, kind of pushed him out. But I think they felt, and this is just my conjecture, that they had no choice. I think they knew what a danger he was, or what a loose cannon he could be, and that he could end up getting into a whole lot of trouble. And the only thing that was tethering him to some level of sanity was them. And eventually,
what a burden.
You can only tether for so long until he cuts it willingly. What a burden. And I don't know how I wonder how they look at him now. Is he still their son? Or, Dad didn't even show up to the sentencing, and I don't know why. I'm not judging Dad. I don't know that I don't, honest to God, I don't know that I would either if that was my kid. I don't think I would. I'd say,
and that could be for many reasons. It could be either they've disowned him, or they've physically, mentally could not withstand seeing that happen to their child.
And maybe that was it. I don't blame Dad for the decisions he made.
Yeah.
I think and we talked about this the other day. I can't imagine. I can and I can't.
Trauma.
I can and I can't. I just hope, I'd be changing my last name and moving, I think, and trying everything I can to do a fresh start on life, even though, they're getting up there, but they still got more life and they got to live with this. The sisters, I can't imagine the shit. Those poor women. And the harassment that they receive online of like, look, she looks like Kohberger. No, she does. She has similar eyes. And they caught her at a weird angle. Give the woman a break. Seems like a lovely, attractive young woman that's living her life. Has nothing to do with this frickin' monster that she has to call a brother.
Yeah. She's trying to live her life.
She doesn't stand out as a monster to me. Kohberger, on the other hand, does. She stands out as a normal woman who's been thrown to the fucking depths of hell with a brother that she always knew was a problem. So I feel horrible for that family. And obviously for the victims as well, without a doubt. But there you go. There's some new thoughts on Kohberger. More people knew it early on. There's something wrong with this guy. And that professor called it. Man. American Psycho. Doesn't he fit the bill? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube. If you're not already there, search Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi, and you will find us there. You can also make that same search wherever you download podcasts, so you can join us there, on the go, wherever you go, in the car, at work, on the beach. We play today's best variety of horrible stories from horrible people for your workday, with the no-repeat workday guarantee. A better mix from the 80s, 90s, and today. All right, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Press subscribe. We'll talk again real.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers podcast.